Picture this. You're scrolling through your social media feed when you see an ad for a hot new investment opportunity. The flashy graphics show impressive returns, and there's a countdown timer ticking away. Limited spots available, it screams. Your heart races a little bit. You think, this could be my chance to finally get ahead financially. Your finger hovers over the Learn More button. Sound familiar? Ever felt that rush of excitement or anxiety about a financial decision? You are not alone. And more importantly, you're not bananas. You're just human. In the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to unpack why our brains sometimes sabotage our financial goals, how some advisors exploit these quirks, and most importantly, how you can outsmart your own psychology to make better money moves. From the birth of behavioral economics to the tricks of the trade used by some financial advisors, we're diving deep into the fascinating world where money meets the mind. So buckle up, because by the end of this episode, you're never going to look at financial decisions the same way again.
In a world where chaos seems to reign supreme, where uncertainty lurks around every corner, and financial markets are now more unpredictable than ever, there's one place you can turn to find clarity and control. Welcome to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast.
Hey, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Amanda.
Join us as we dive deep in the world of personal and business finance
to assist you in navigating through the chaos and building the financial future you deserve.
We believe when conventional financial thinking doesn't get you where you want to go,
you need wealth wisdom.
So if you're ready to take control of your financial destiny,
tune in to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast.
Because in a chaotic world, your money shouldn't be.
Subscribe now and never miss an episode.
All right, we're going to hop into a time machine and zip back to the 1950s. But first, let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm Amanda Neely, one of the co-hosts of the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast. So glad you're here. Today, I'm going to nerd out a little bit, just forewarning you. I'm a psychology nerd. I ended up choosing psychology as a major in college because it had the fewest amount of requirements and I could really take whatever I wanted. I went to a liberal arts school. But I found it fascinating to learn like how our minds work, like in cognitive psychology, or how our minds develop, like in developmental psychology, right? As kids. Cultural psychology, how we relate to one another. There's all these different genres, I guess, within psychology. I remember those are some of my favorite classes. And then there's like financial psychology, the psychology of money. And as I've become, a financial professional for about 6 years now, and then a certified financial planner, I've learned like there's actually a lot more psychology to this than I would have thought. As like college student Amanda. And this summer, I've been reading a bunch of books by the same author that are kind of about money, but from like a different lens. You might know this author. His name is Michael Lewis. He wrote the book that's become a movie, The Big Short, or you might be familiar with Moneyball. Well, I went back to one of his original or like one of his earlier books called The Undoing Project. Here it is, The Undoing Project. And yes, it's from the library. This is like a very fascinating book. And what I'm gonna talk about today is somewhat in this book, so you don't have to read the whole thing, right? It's a pretty thick one, but some additional things that I added to it that come from my own perspective as a financial planner and as a financial ally, as a millennial, as a woman, like as a psychology nerd. So we're going to go a little deep today. That's why you're talking to me, because I get really passionate about this. And Brandon's like, you should do this episode solo. So here I am. Okay, now let's jump into that time machine. We're going to go all the way back to the 1950s. The economy's booming. Rock and roll is taking off. And in the world of economics, something revolutionary is brewing. There's this guy, Herbert Simon. He's a polymath, and he's about to shake things up. Well, most economists are busy assuming everyone makes perfectly rational decisions. Simon's like, hold up, have you met people? I'm sure he didn't talk like that, but that's what he basically says. He introduces this concept that he calls bounded rationality. And basically, he's arguing that we make decisions based on limited information and our mental capacity. In other words, our brains aren't perfect. Either they don't know enough or they make mistakes. And it would be like trying to choose the best pizza place in New York City with only Yelp reviews from your great aunt Edna, right? You don't know all the pizza places in the city. She doesn't. You're going off her reviews, and you might also skew them, right? You might give some of her reviews more weight than others for various reasons, some of which could be wrong. So fast forward to the 1970s, disco's in full swing, and there's these two psychologists, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. They are the main characters in this book. And they're about to drop a beat that changes economics forever. They start identifying cognitive biases, these mental shortcuts our brains take that often lead us astray. Like you might think of like how there's optical illusions when you're looking out at the world with your eyes take shortcuts. It's really your brain that's taking the shortcuts. We can see all these things with our eyes, but we choose what has priority and we might miss things, right? Our brains do the same thing with information that's not visual, right? We do it with even our brain processing. So there's things called loss aversion, anchoring, the availability heuristic, what's easiest to bring to mind. We're going to talk about some of those later. But suddenly, because of Daniel and Amos, Tversky and Kahneman, suddenly we're learning that our brains are less like supercomputers and more like glitchy first-gen iPhones. Of course, they wouldn't have used that analogy in the 1970s, but we get that now. Like these people thought our brains were way more powerful than they are, and then Tversky and Kahneman show us they're not as powerful as we thought. It's been described as driving a car full of explosives into economics. In the 1980s, when those start rolling around, everybody's obsessing over Rubik's Cubes. But there's another economist who takes the work of Kahneman and Tversky and builds on top of it because they were psychologists, right? They were professors of psychology. They were entering into the economics realm a little differently. Whereas this other guy was an economist by nature. He finds out about their work and is like, oh, let me connect the dots here. His name is Richard Thaler. He starts applying Kahneman Tversky's ideas to economics more and more, showing how these cognitive quirks mess with traditional economic theories that, other economists were assuming were true. And he's showing like, yeah, they're true in a vacuum in a perfect world, but they're not true with real humans. It's like realizing your trusty GPS sometimes leads you straight into a lake, right? It makes mistakes. So by the 1990s and 2000s, we have this idea of behavioral economics, and it's gaining serious street cred. Thaler's work is turning hands, and suddenly it's not just these eggheads and ivory towers that are paying attention. Governments, businesses, they start realizing, hey, if we understand how people really make decisions, maybe we can help them make better ones. Or, sell them more stuff. Get them to vote the way we want to, whatever it might be, right? So 2002 rolls around, and bam, Kahneman wins the Nobel Prize in economics. A psychologist winning an economics prize. It's like the plot twist in a nerdy economic soap opera. You make that nerdy economic soap opera, I'll be the first subscriber. But anyway, so Kahneman gets this, Daniel Kahneman, and then Thaler follows suit in 2017. He gets a Nobel Prize in economics. And suddenly, behavioral economics is the cool kid at the economic party. When I was studying for my CFP, the CFP board sent out an announcement as I was part of my curriculum that they were adding financial psychology questions to the exam, and they were adjusting. Before we had, this many questions about taxes, this many questions about estate planning, and they're going to be adjusting those numbers to add some more questions about financial psychology. That was March of 2022 when they made that announcement. These ideas, remember, started in the 1950s. It wasn't until then that they were on our exams. But most importantly, why does this matter to you? Well, this isn't just some dusty economic history, right? These part of what intrigued Michael Lewis, who's a journalist, to even learn about this is has it real world impacts. If you saw Moneyball, right, you know, like there's psychology and economics at play in baseball. He actually uses a lot of NBA examples in here. So for a sports fan, more power to you. But these insights also might reveal why you might panic sell stocks during a market dip, or why that gym membership you never seem to use seemed like such a great idea on January 1st. Understanding this stuff is like getting cheat codes to your brain's own decision-making processes. Even our 6-year-old gets excited by cheat codes. So here's the kicker. If you've been going away from me because I've been going through all this history, come back to me. Here's the kicker. Some financial advisors have been paying very close attention to these insights, to financial psychology. They realized that if they can understand better how your brain works, they can better persuade you to make certain financial decisions, for better or for worse for you, but definitely to line their pockets. So, we're going to dive into some nitty-gritty examples of these biases and how they play out in the world of finance. Remember, knowledge is power. You have, like, we're increasing the knowledge in your brain, and it's kind of meta. We're talking about your brain understanding how your brain works so that you're better equipped to make financial decisions that actually serve you, not just the person selling you something. What a revolutionary idea. Okay, you ready for this? You ready to dive into the fun house mirror maze that is our brain when it comes to money? We're going to cover 4 major cognitive biases that can seriously mess up your financial decisions. So buckle up, and just so you know, we see at least one of these in every single person we talk to. I checked with Brandon. He's like, yep, every single person. So there's no judgment or guilt here. We just want to give you more freedom. Knowledge is freedom. So we're sharing these to help you be free of the worst sides of them. Okay, ready? Here we go. Number 1 is loss aversion. It's the I'd rather not lose than win bias. I'd rather not lose than win bias. In simple terms, loss aversion means the pain of losing is psychology about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining. It's like stubbing your toe hurts way more than finding $5 in your old coat pocket feels good. It's also, if you can imagine, you buy some stock for $1,000 and now it's only worth $800, you know logically that this company's future doesn't look great. But instead of selling and reinvesting in something better, you hold on to it, hoping it'll go back up to at least 1,000. Why? Because selling would mean accepting that loss, and your brain hates the idea more than it likes the potential of making money elsewhere. Loss aversion. You'll hear, well, we're going to come back to some examples of how you can be on the lookout for this after I go through all 4. Going to go back through them. So we're going through each one, and then I'm going to give you the examples, okay, of how this is used against you or for you. Okay, number 2 is present bias. This is the I want it now syndrome. It's my money and I want it now. Present bias is our tendency to give more weight to payoffs that are closer to the present when considering trade-offs between 2 future moments. It's the future you always has to deal with the consequences of present you's decisions. You know you should be saving more for retirement, but that new iPhone just dropped. Present bias is what makes you think, I'll start saving more next month as you tap your credit card for that shiny new gadget. Spoiler alert, next month you'll probably think the same thing. This is number 2, present bias. Ready for number 3? This one has one of our favorite people in it, overconfidence. It's the basically, I'm Warren Buffett delusion. Overconfidence is our tendency to overestimate our own abilities, including our financial acumen. It's thinking you're an above average driver when statistically that's impossible for everyone. Remember that cousin of yours who wouldn't shut up about cryptocurrency at Thanksgiving dinner? The one who's mortgaged his house to buy more Bitcoin at its peak? Yep, that's overconfidence in action. That's what makes people think they can time the market or pick winning stocks consistently, despite overwhelming evidence that even professionals struggle to do this. So overconfidence bias. And then this one is one that I fight against a lot because I'm different. I like being different, but a lot of people come with number 4 here, herd mentality. It's the if everyone's doing it, it must be right. Fallacy. Yes, that's a fallacy. Herd mentality is our tendency to follow and copy what other people are doing. In finance, it can lead to bubbles and crashes as everyone piles in or rushes out of investments together. Think back to the GameStop stock frenzy of 2021. Suddenly, everyone and their dog was buying GameStop stock, not because of careful analysis of the company's fundamentals, but because everyone else was doing it or had a compelling reason for doing it. And for some, it paid off big time. But for others who joined late, well, let's just say it didn't end well. Now, these are only 4. We have a list of 15 of these. We're actually going to be talking more about all of these biases in the Wealth Wisdom Financial community this week. But I want to talk first, for now, of how do these biases play out in real life. So imagine you're at a dinner party and someone starts bragging about this amazing new investment opportunity. And overconfidence makes you think you're savvy enough to spot a good deal. And that fear of missing out, thanks loss aversion, makes you worry about not participating. And then present bias has you thinking about quick gains rather than long-term stability. And herd mentality kicks in as you see other people at the table getting excited too. And before you know it, you're calling your broker the next day, ready to dive in. And that, folks, is how these cognitive biases can lead you into financial decisions you might regret later. Now that you know about these biases, you are ready and better equipped to spot them in action, both in your own thinking and in how financial products are marketed to you. And trust me, financial advisors know all about these biases. Some use this knowledge to help you make better decisions, while others, well, that's what we're going to talk about next. But first, an invitation.
Ready to take the next step towards securing your financial future? Whether you're planning for retirement, saving for your dream home, or you just want to make your money work harder for you, the team at Wealth Wisdom Financial are ready to assist you. And now, it's easier than ever to see how we might give you a boost on your financial journey.
Schedule a 15-minute discovery call with one of us today.
And let's discuss your questions and your financial goals together.
Don't wait any longer. Your financial freedom awaits. Schedule your discovery call at www.wealthwisdomfp.com/call.
Now, let's be clear. Not all financial advisors are out to get you. Many genuinely want to help you achieve your financial goals. But remember, knowledge is power. Understanding how some less scrupulous advisors might try to exploit these biases can help you stay on your toes. So let's break it down. Framing effects, the art of selection. Remember loss aversion? Some advisors might use this to their advantage by framing choices in terms of potential losses rather than gains. For example, instead of saying, this investment could earn you 7% annually, they might say, without this investment, you could be losing out on 7% gains each year. Notice the difference? Suddenly, not investing feels like losing money you never had in the first place. Sneaky, right? Then there's social proof. This goes with the everyone is doing it tactic and plays right into herd mentality. An advisor might say something like, 80% of my clients in your situation are investing in this fund. Or they might casually mention how quickly spots in a particular investment opportunity are filling up. The goal? To make you feel like you're missing out if you don't jump on board. It's FOMO, the fear of missing out, but for your finances. There's also scarcity tactics, creating a false sense of urgency. This is the act now before it's too late strategy. An advisor might tell you about a limited time offer or an investment opportunity that's closing soon. They're banking on your fear of missing out and your tendency toward present bias. That urgency makes you more likely to act quickly without fully thinking things through. And then anchoring. This is where they will use numbers to sway your perception. Anchoring is when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered when making decisions. So some advisors might use this by throwing out a high number early in the conversation. For instance, they might mention a client who's contributing $2,000 monthly to their investment account. And suddenly, when they suggest that you invest $500 a month, that seems totally reasonable in comparison, even if it's more than you can comfortably afford. And then I got to throw in overconfidence here and how overconfidence is exploited. They might flatter your ego. Remember, we tend to overestimate our own abilities. So when they will play into this by complimenting your financial savvy or suggesting certain complex investments are for sophisticated investors like yourself. Now, this flattery might make you more likely to agree to investments that might actually be too risky or complicated for your situation. Oh, and then there's also choice overload. This is overwhelming you with options. Some advisors might present you with an overwhelming number of investment options, and this overload can trigger decision paralysis, which might make you more likely to simply go with their recommendation rather than trying to sort through all the choices yourself. I could keep going and going and going, but here's the thing. These tactics aren't always used with bad intentions. Sometimes an advisor might use framing to help you understand the importance of saving for retirement, or they might use social proof to encourage good financial habits. The key is to be aware of these techniques so you can pause and ask yourself, is this investment really right for me? Or am I being swayed by how the information is presented? Remember, a good financial advisor should be happy to explain their recommendations clearly without pressure tactics. They should encourage you to take your time with big decisions, be transparent about their fees or commissions, and any potential conflicts of interest. That's a big one. By understanding these biases, right, that you have within your own head and that they might have, and how they can be exploited, you're better equipped to see through persuasion tactics and make financial decisions based on what's truly best for you, not what someone else wants you to do. And for those of you that haven't done this process with me, where we get to know each other and I see how I can better your financial future, sometimes I will point out when there's a clever marketing strategy being used. It's really fun to like pull back the curtain and be like, the clever marketing people would say this right now. And I could do that, like, or that's kind of hokey, but here's like what's really going on. It's kind of fun. So yeah, just a little insight into how I work. Okay. All right, financial warriors. We've covered a lot of ground today. We've time traveled through history of behavioral economics. We've explored those sneaky biases lurking in our brains, at least 5 of them. We've unmasked some of the tactics that might be used to exploit those biases. But knowledge, it might be power, but it's just the beginning. It's what you do with it that counts. We all have power. You have power, I have power. But what you do with that power is what really matters. And remember, your brain might be playing tricks on you, but that does not mean you can't outsmart it. Be aware of these biases. That's your first line of defense. And the next time you're about to make a financial decision, take a moment, ask yourself, am I acting on facts or feelings? Or am I taking my facts and my feelings? Am I finding how they combine together to work for me together rather than fighting with each other, right? Is this truly a limited time offer? Or am I being pressured? Am I following the herd or my own financial goals? Great questions to be asking. But hey, I get it. This stuff can be super overwhelming. That's why I want to make sure to invite you to join the Wealth Wisdom Financial Community. That's where we take these big ideas, all these financial things you could learn to increase your financial literacy, help you make better financial decisions, be able to spot the manipulation, I guess is maybe what we could call it. Take all these things and turn them into actionable steps that you can use in your daily life. And here's a little teaser for you. I mentioned it earlier, but here's the exact part of it. We've got some exclusive bonus content waiting for you. It's our top practical financial psychology tips. These aren't just any tips. They're battle-tested strategies to help you navigate the psychological minefield of personal finance. Say that 5 times fast. Battle-tested strategies help you navigate the psychological minefield of personal finance. We're taking concrete, actionable advice that you can start using today to make smarter financial decisions. To join us, head over to wealthwisdomfp.com/community. That's wealthwisdom, F as in financial, P as in podcast.com/community. And you can sign up for free. Not only will you get access to these top tips, but you'll also be part of a group of like-minded individuals all working towards financial wisdom. We've got forums, additional resources, regular Q&A sessions to help you apply everything we've talked about today. Remember, your financial journey is uniquely yours, but that doesn't mean you have to go it alone. Join our community, arm yourself with knowledge, and let's outsmart those biases together. Until next time, stay savvy, stay skeptical, and keep growing that wealth wisdom. Thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. If you've been tracking with us this summer, you know, we talked a lot about fees and doing the real math on those fees to see how they impact what you're doing with your financial plan. We talked about the latte factor and how it doesn't mean what we think it means, maybe. Today we talked about the human psychology. You'll notice actually the title, I kind of used a little human psychology to hopefully get you watch this video and stay all the way to the end. Go back and look at the title or listen to this episode to look for some of the ways I got you to keep going or to even watch in the first place. But next time, we're going to be talking about fads and the latest financial trends and what they do to financial planning. It's a great continuation of the conversation we're doing today because fads often use psychology to get us to do those fads. So be sure you hit that subscribe. Check out our YouTube channel. If you're listening to the podcast, you can subscribe and hit a bell there. Give me your comments. Would love to hear from you over on YouTube there. In the meantime, live long and profit. The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice. On such matters, please consult a professional who knows your specific situation and won't use Jedi mind tricks on you. I just had to throw that in there. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.